Okay, first of all, let's start with your name. How do I pronounce it correctly? Because this is
I,
something that really interests me.
you pronounced it correctly. It's Santosh. So Santosh
Ah,
Yadav. That's how I do it.
Yadav. Okay, perfect. So, Santosh, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I started my career back in 2008. So I've been for a longer period of time, right? So I was a .NET developer. So till 2016, yes. So yeah, till 2016, I was just writing .NET programs. Like I worked on ASP.NET. I started with Windows. I really loved actually programming in Windows, right? So you don't have to worry about browsers. That was fun. But yes, I wanted to move into web, and actually, I got the opportunity to actually work on ASP.NET MVC, which was like in back in 2012 was one of the, I think, most demand technology. So that's how I started in web, and my first introduction to JavaScript was actually jQuery. So I'm sure most of the developers who know jQuery, they were like $0. So dollar is something related to JavaScript. I was for a longer period of time like, okay, so dollar has something to do with JavaScript. So I was that kind of developer. And then eventually around 2016, I came across AngularJS. So AngularJS was like first time I actually started working on entirely, which is front end. And then 2017 was the year, so I came to know that 2017, I think March 2017, right? So Angular 4.0 was released, so I started learning it. So I got access to this plural site, so I actually jumped on and then did a lot of practice, and then completed the courses from, of course, Deborah Coretta ma'am. So I'm a huge fan of her, and that's where I started. And now it's been 6 months, so 4 years I'm working in Angular, and then it's been 6 months I started working as a consultant now.
That's super cool. That's an awesome journey. Actually, I hear of a lot of backend developers that when they transition to front end, they start with Angular,
Yeah.
especially AngularJS. So that's interesting. Hmm. And yeah, there isn't much comparison between, well, there's a huge comparison, sorry, between Angular and AngularJS. They're very,
Yeah,
very
actually.
different. So we could actually say that you were a self-taught front-end developer because you basically learned that part on your own, right? That's
Yeah, actually.
impressive. Congratulations. So, but how did you said you started in .NET, but why did you start in .NET? How did you get into tech? What was that decision?
So that was an interesting story. So I actually, after completing my school, so I was actually, it was really hard to get the, I can say, admissions into the college which I wanted to, because I wanted to take science, and it was my grades were like really low. So someone actually came to my dad and his friend, basically my dad's friend. So he came and said, look, my son has actually taken an admission into some diploma programs. So he was like, okay, so, and I think you can apply there, and with this grades also you will get the admission. So I went to the college, I filled up the form, and then during admission, so he said, okay, there are a few streams which we have available. For example, we have mechanical, we have I think there was civil engineering, and there was computers. So as soon as he said computers, I was like, okay, I want to do computers. So when I came outside, my dad was like, why you did why you took computers? You might have said mechanicals, right? So I was like, no idea. I mean, I just heard computers, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So, but yeah, of course, as happens, right? I mean, so my first language is not English, it's Hindi. So this is what we generally speak in India, and even my entire education till school was in Hindi. So it was really difficult to actually go ahead and actually understand what your professors are saying in college. So it was really difficult. Then I completed somehow my diploma. I was not sure what I'm going to do. I was still not sure. I mean, I completed 3 years of diploma, but I was really lost. I mean, I'm not sure what I wanted to do. Then I went to complete my degree program, and I think it was like last year of engineering, and then I decided to actually. My friend said, you are really good into programming. Why don't you actually choose this as a career option, right? Going onwards. I was like, okay, probably I can give it a thought. And I wanted to actually become a Java developer. That was really strange. So I wanted to become a Java developer, but 2008, I'm sure everyone knows what 2008 year was, right? So it was like the worst year the IT industry can expect. So everywhere there were no jobs, and so I started learning C sharp. So someone told me, okay, there is my friend actually who was actually working for TCS at that moment. He was few years senior to me. So he said, why don't you do C sharp? Because he was already doing it. So I was like, okay. So I took some books and started learning about it. And then I completed a few like small, what you can say, it was a small workshop, I could say, at that moment of time in 2000, around 2008. So on C sharp. So he taught us some Windows programming. And then I said, okay, this is what I want to do. I mean, I loved how C sharp language is. And then I started writing C sharp and C sharp and got a small job at like, my first job was actually in a 1 BHK home. So it was like small office. So it's like he had taken two 1 BHK homes and then he converted them to offices. And that's where I used to actually started writing my own program or started doing the development.
That's super cool. Like, I guess when we go to college, no one really knows what they want to do as a job, right? We kind of choose something, but and I liked how you said, yeah, I just chose computers because it was computers. I feel that.
When you
Sam,
start university or college, you think you want to do Java, and then you actually learn some Java, and then you're like, I don't want to do Java anymore. Like you mentioned.
Yeah. And so you've been many years in the tech industry.
Yeah.
When did you start getting involved in developers communities and participating?
It was really late. So once I started doing this Angular stuff, right? So I started teaching Angular basically in 2017. So the thing is, I moved. I was actually going through a difficult phase, and then I moved to Pune, and things started getting better. And by 2017, I got the opportunity to teach Angular, where actually I was getting good money, so as a side income. So I started doing that. By 2017, actually, I made some enough money to actually do or buy some stuffs for my house, which I wanted to do. Of course, we still stay on rented house, but yeah, it was really better than what I used to be. It used to be in Mumbai, where I was born and brought up. So once it happened, right? So by 2017, I actually made some good side income, and then I started thinking about it. I was like, okay, so when I was a kid, so one thing my dad actually taught me, that never take anything for free. And then I gave it a thought, what I'm doing. I mean, I learned Angular from, of course, the plural site, which I got free access for. Then I went to the docs, read from there, I read the blog post, and everything was free, right? So I was not paying anything to actually learn Angular, but I'm earning money from Angular. So I was doing workshops where I was actually getting paid really well. Then I thought, okay, now this is not the way. This is not the way. I want to do this, but I also want to give back to the community. So 2018, entire 2018 was actually the same thing. I was actually looking for the way to actually go ahead and interact with community or go ahead and help the community, but couldn't find a way. In India, actually, it was really difficult because no one was doing open source. No one was actually talking about Angular, and the communities were, I mean, in Pune, you will rarely find any meetups as well. So 2018 just went into searching for things, and I was not sure where the community is, because I was active on Facebook, I was active on LinkedIn, but I couldn't find the community which is really involved in doing open source stuff or talking about Angular. It was not there. So by 2019, I came to know that, okay, Twitter is the best place where you can actually start interacting with community. And then I realized, okay, there are many developers whose content I actually used to use. They're actually available on LinkedIn. I can just send a DM and they will be, they actually do respond. So a lot of developers, I think Sam was one of the one, Sam Julian. So he was one of the one actually I started following because I came to know that he's one of the Angular core collaborator, and he was really nice guy. So whenever I used to see his tweets, so a lot of people, right? So I started following them, and then 2019 I went to a workshop, I went to a conference which happened in India. It was early 2019 Feb, and then I met Vikram. So Vikram was actually working for Angular CLI at that time, And after the conference was over, there was like, you can just go ahead and talk to speakers. So I just went to Vikram and said, okay, Vikram, so actually I just introduced myself, and he listened to me very, I mean, he was really calm, and he listened to me. And then I said, okay, look, I want to contribute to Angular, but I'm not sure how to do it. So he was like, okay. So he said, look, what you can do is you can actually start writing blog posts, create content. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Actually, I want to go ahead and contribute to the repository. So he was like, okay, in that case, what you can do is go ahead and see the issues. And in case you have any questions, you can actually just tag the someone from the team, and they will be able to help you. I was like, okay, this is something I want to do. And then I came home, and within 5 days, I started looking for all the issues, but couldn't find any which I can work on. And then I went to NgRx repository because I had heard about NgRx. I never used NgRx in till 2019, but I had actually heard about NgRx from my friends. They said, hey, it's a really nice actually state management framework, so you should give it a try. I was like, okay, I will check. And then I went to the repository, and then I found an issue. So it's like, okay, this is something which I should do. And it was related to schematics. And then I did that first PR. It was 1st March 2019. I remember the dates as well. So 1st March 2019, when my first PR was merged. And Brandon was one. I'm sure you know Brandon. So then I started contributing more towards NgRx. I started interacting with Wes, Tim from the core members, Alex. And that's how it started. And then I started my own meetup here in Pune. It actually till 2019, of course, after 2020, I have to close it. But then I started writing blog posts. I got involved with in-depth community, and then now 2020, I started actually this tech talk with Santosh, which is like same concept which I am doing right now. So it's been almost a year to that as well. So yep, so that's how it started, and then now it's going.
I find it incredible how much a conference can impact us, right? Because I get this feeling after every conference. I know that right now we can't go to in-person conferences. Virtual conferences aren't at all alike. But if anyone ever gets the opportunity post-pandemic to go to a conference, I feel like that's a really good place to start when you want to get involved with the community. Exactly. Right now, everything's online. But you're very...
Okay, I think we lost Anna for a while, but I'll take over. I think we're with two hosts today. And you did mention briefly that you are now hosting Tech Talks, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about your Tech Talks initiative?
So it was like May 2020. So of course, everyone was going through pandemic, and it was May, right? So May 2020. So pandemic has just started. So I started giving a lot of talks online. So all the talks were remote, and then by May 2020, something happened. So I decided to take a break from the community, and I gave a thought. I mean, what are the things actually between that period? It was like 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks break. So I took from the community, and then I went on to my list what I wanted to really do. So I had actually started one initiative back in 2019. I did one single episode with one of the GDs, Rusty Jan. So I thought, okay, this is what I wanted to start. I wanted to actually take this concept and do it in India, because no one is doing it in India, where people can come talk. And it was like interview format, right? So where you do live stream. So I went with this concept and spoke to some people. So I spoke to Max Koretsky from In-Depth, and then I spoke to Lars as well. So they were like, okay, go ahead and do it. I mean, we will support you as much as we can. So I thought, okay. I said, okay. So In-Depth actually started. So they had designers. So they started generating the banners. So they said, okay, you can speak to our designer, and she will help in your creating the banners. And Lars said, okay, if you need a guest, I'm ready to come and become your first guest. I was like, okay. So that's how it started. So 10th July was the first episode we did. And after that, it's every Friday, which it happens. So every Friday, 10 p.m. IST. So we come up with a new guest, and we talk about some different topic. So I think in Feb, we also had Sam Julian. So we spoke about Auth0 as well. Auth0, sorry.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's a little bit similar to Avocado Labs because we also try to invite guests and talk about interesting topics. But that's a really cool initiative that you started there.
It is, and I'm sorry, I think I had too many tabs or something. Something broke. My computer was not happy with me. But yeah, that's really cool about your tech talks. And I was just wondering, as you're based in India, how people can get involved with the community there, right?
Mhm. Yep. So right now, actually, of course, everything is online, and there are few meetups which are also online. So if anyone who wants to actually get involved with the community right now, so I have also started few initiatives. So uh, this is something which I do, meet with Santosh. So there is like 25-minute block, 25 minutes window which I allocate. You can come talk to me and see what you want to really do. I mean, or if you have any questions. And I started this Discord server few months ago, where you can also come and discuss new things. But if you really want to actually get involved, just go ahead and find the community which is around you. For example, there is a new meetup which has started called NgRx. They are also doing great. So they of course need new speakers, right? I mean, of course, it's you guys know so how actually difficult it is to actually get a speaker, right? So in case, for example, anyone near your community who needs some new contents, you can just speak to him, or they need help in managing something, so you can just go ahead and talk to them and see what kind of help you can provide. This is the best way to start. I mean, actually, or if you really are doing some things and you think you are not getting enough chances, just let me know. I mean, I'm available on Twitter. I can connect you to uh, many meetups and online meetups which happen across the world. So yep, that's something I can do.
Awesome. And we can see your Twitter handle, right? That's your Twitter handle there on screen. And in the background, I love that. How could I forget to mention? That's really cool. I feel like the developer community is something very special, and each developer community is special in its own way, right? Like the React one, the Vue,
Yeah.
Angular, no one is better than the other. But because I know that you know more about the Angular one, and I do too, because we're more Angular folks, I could just say that I feel like it's a very inclusive place, and you're always welcome there. So, yeah, I can't emphasize how much the developer community is important, and I would just like to kind of know how developer communities might have impacted you personally or professionally.
Okay. So
So,
it impacted a lot, to be frank. I mean, around 2019, I was really new to the community. So 2019 was actually kind of mixed year for me, because I started contributing to open source. I started getting involved in open source, and with the community as well. I became a GDE as well. But end of 2019 was not that great. So my employer tried to actually screw up my life, and they decided that okay, whatever I was doing was wrong. So I was looking for a new job. Of course, I had to do something, because they said okay, I cannot go ahead and give a talk in conferences. So that was really strange, because I was like, okay, I'm talking about Angular, but still they were not supporting me. So I decided to actually resign, but I needed a job. So that's where community really helped me. So one of my friend Serkan, who is actually from Germany, so he said, okay, look, we are looking for a new developer, and it really helped, because I got a new job as soon as my employer was trying to do something bad to me. So again, so after 29, I mean, we worked together for 6 months, but after that also I needed the break from that particular job, and I wanted to move into consulting. This is also where actually being part of community helped me. So I got few clients who were ready to work with me. It was like mutual, right? So I don't have to actually give any interviews or something like that. So they were like, okay, we really want to work with you. And that's how it actually helped me in my personal life. Of course, it's as well as professional, right? So personally, of course, I make good money now. And professionally, sorry, yeah, professionally I have a good job and stable clients where I can work for.
stability is the most important thing, right?
actually.
Yeah, I said Twitter background. It's not Twitter background. Today
It's
was
a GitHub,
really not
yeah.
my day. I think I woke up on the wrong foot this morning. Something happened.
It's a
It's
GitHub
GitHub.
actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about GitHub, you mentioned that you did some open source contributions. Do you want to share any more about your open source contributions?
Yeah. So I think in 2019 I started uh, contributing to NgRx and Angular. So now I have few open source projects where which I used to maintain, which I maintain basically Ngx-Builders, where we've built few. In case you want to actually come and start doing some open source contribution, we do have some issues which you can take, and we are recently started a new project called ES, so NG Workers, sorry. So me, Lars, Nacho, and Sirkan, we four are right now team members or core team members. We are working on few libraries. One of them is Lumberjack, which is logging library, and which is, I mean, of course, which is in progress, and we are adding new features. Also, we have some testing libraries where Lars is working on. So those are the things which we are doing right now.
Awesome. So you've mentioned that you started out with NgRx in the
Yep.
beginning and some other open source repositories. Do you have some advice for people out there who are thinking of contributing to open source, but maybe don't know where to start or are afraid to commit their first PR? Because I know I was very afraid when I had to make my first PR to a public open source repository. So do you have some tips and tricks or advice for those people out there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is, everyone thinks that okay, you should contribute to a large code base to become famous or to actually start with your open source contribution. It's not like that. So what I generally suggest developers to do is, you are already, if you are already working on Angular, you are already using a lot of libraries inside your project, because of course you cannot just build everything by just using Angular, right? You need NgRx or you need some other different libraries. They also need contributions. They also need the community to help them. So go ahead and see those libraries where you think you are already using in your project, and you think there are some things which can be improved, or they want to actually upgrade to a new version. Angular upgrades everything in 6 months, right? But there are a lot of libraries which are not upgraded because maybe the maintainer of the project just left, or maybe the maintainer project is looking for some help. So go ahead and support those libraries as well. Another way to contribute is talks. Remember, Angular upgrades everything in 6 months. They might be adding some features, they might be deprecating few things. So just go ahead and read the docs, give it a read, and see if there is something which is missing. The best way is, of course, go to your uh, the release documentation, right? So everything is available there. That what has released or what has changed. Go ahead and update the documentation, because you will be helping yourself, but other million developers who are going to read that doc. So this is the best place to start, and then get start. I mean, once you have started, just go ahead and see what's there in the code, and then get involved in on the larger picture, right? So you are doing more feature requests or you are doing bug fixes, but to get started, don't do that. Start with documentation or the smaller project.
I love that you mentioned docs because it's one of the most underrated things you can do to help
Actually,
open source libraries maintaining docs. And if you come across something in the documentation that is not up to date or is not clear enough, just fixing that. That's a very nice pointer.
Definitely. And I think this kind of loops in very nicely with the developer community, right? So I remember before I did my first PR, the first thing I did was reach out to people I know in the community to like double check everything I was about to like do before I sent the pull request in, right? I was like, please check my code. But if I didn't have that support from the developer community, then maybe I would have never like done it.
agree.
So
Agree. Even I remember
cool.
when I did my first PR for Angular, I was really scared, and but the Angular team is so nice, right? I mean, they really help you. I was even not aware of some Git commands, because I was like hardly using Git before 2019. Everything was like it's like UI, you just update your code. So I was not well aware of those commands, right? So they really used to actually give me commands, go ahead and run this, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best help I can get.
Yeah. No better help than the Angular team themselves. Cool. Do you have anything you would like to mention, or maybe? Oh, wait, we do have one question that just came in, and it's from our colleague James.
Ah,
So,
hey,
do you
James. Hi.
have a favorite online community?
Favorite online community. It's I really like NgDe because it's like they have different meetups, and but when they have to actually do NgDe, every meetup actually comes together, and then that's how they do the conference. I really wanted to actually attend NgDe in person once whenever I get chance, but of course Corona actually did a bad thing. But yeah, I really love NgD, and the people are really nice. I mean, I know Martina Cross, or so there are a few more, but yeah. So I really love NgDe.
Sorry.
NgDe. So it's Germany. So NgBe
Sorry,
is for
sorry,
Belgium.
sorry. Yeah, I thought you were saying NGBE, which is
Ah,
another
sorry.
community which is awesome.
Actually, yeah.
I
But
was
I've
going to
Yes,
heard
say,
NGBE.
if you ever make it to the BE, the Belgian one, you
Yeah.
have to come say hi to me because I'm based in
Ah, sure.
Belgium. But the DE one is also very nice.
Yeah.
It is, and they also always run NgGirls, which
Yeah.
is super awesome. Both of them, both
Yeah.
NgDe and NgBE, always host an NgGirls workshop, which is
Right.
pretty cool. And you're right, Martina is behind NgD. I totally forgot about that. She's in everything, so I can't keep up with her lately. Cool. So let's go back to the question I was asking you, which I kind of forgot what I was saying. Yes, that's my brain today. See? So, yes, I was asking you if you have any questions for us, or if there was anything that you would like to mention about the developer community, open source, about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I mean, of course, I get a lot of questions related to this. So, in case you want to talk to me, you can just book one-on-one time with me. Just uh, keep an eye on Twitter. Actually, I announce it every 1 month, so you can go ahead and book those 25 minutes, and then you can talk to me. Apart from that, my Twitter DM is always open. So, in case you want to talk, you can just DM me, and I would love to help. And yeah, we also started the Discord server. So if you want to be part of Discord server, you can just go to my Twitter handle, and then you will find that it's a pinned tweet, so you will be able to find it easily. Apart from that, of course, I'm doing this Angular workshop, Angular beginners workshop every weekend. It's like 6 to 8 p.m. IST. So in case anyone wants to learn Angular, or in case any one of your friends wants to learn Angular, so just redirect them to my Twitch handle. I'm doing it live stream every weekend. So yep, that's what I'm doing right now.
You are very busy.
I was
Wait,
going
I'm
to
just
say the
trying.
same, yeah.
I'm just posting the Discord in the chat for people if they want to go and check that out. 220 members. That's really amazing, Santosh. Well done. And I just want to congratulate you for your growth, right? You've been very active, but you've done so much for the community. And as a community member, I have learned a lot from you personally, especially through your Angular efforts and everything. And yeah, I really looking forward to seeing your next moves, your next steps, and how you grow.
Thank you.
Awesome. So are there any more questions before we let Santosh go? Um, I'll leave it a few minutes so you can write it in the chat. In the meantime, Sam, do you want to mention or ask anything?
I've been thinking, but Santosh has talked a lot about all his open source contributions and his community involvement. So it was a really nice story that he told us, and how he got started with open source, and he just spoke to some of the Angular community, or the Angular core team members, and just asked, hey, where can I help out? So I like that. Yeah, no.
Awesome. And as there aren't any questions, I think we will leave it at that for today. Thank you so much, Santosh, and hopefully we'll have you back on here soon.
Sure, sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Sam, and thanks for the invite again.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Catch